everybody. So today's assignment is continuing with triangle congruence, and last time we talked about side angle side triangle congruence and angle side angle triangle congruence. And when we had those, we were looking at angles being in between two sides and sides being in between two angles. This one is going to look a little bit different. So we're going to start off with AAS, and if we were in the classroom, most of you guys would probably be able to guess what that stands for. And if you guessed angle, angle, side, then you are correct. So this one, yes, it has two angles, like the one that we did on Monday, but you'll notice the side isn't in between them. So the definition of this one is two triangles are congruent if two corresponding angles and a side, I'm going to put in parentheses here, not between them, are congruent. So again, we've got two angles, but the side will not be in between them. So the first one, I'm going to show you this one on the left. This one, we've got that whole situation we saw on Monday where they're connected. So we've got a side there, and we have two angles. But notice for this one, the side is not lodged in between the two angles. You've got an angle, and a side. And then over here, the same angle, and a side. So because we have those two arc marks there, one arc mark there, angle, and the side that is not in between them. So if you take a look then at this next one, these ones are not connected, but you'll see, it's kind of easier to see it when they're not connected. We've got our angle, another angle, and a side. So each of these, we can see angle, side, because the side is not in between them. All right, so the fourth one that we have is SSS. This one is super simple. My students always like this one. We don't have to worry about any angles. And again, you can probably guess what it stands for, and that is side, side, side. All right, so the definition is two triangles are congruent if all three corresponding sides are congruent. So this one is super easy to see. If you've got three sides that are labeled congruent, you've got side, side, side. Now this one is again one of those situations where we've got a shared side. If it makes you feel better, you can put some tick marks there. You don't have to, but that implies that those sides are congruent. So you see here we've got a side, and a side. And they correspond. Double tick marks there, those sides are congruent. Single tick marks, those sides. And then the third side here gives us our SSS. So your homework tonight is, it's going to be a worksheet where you just have a bunch of triangles. It's actually going to be 2 pages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the circled problems for you just to get started. So when you turn this in, you can just copy down the answers that I give you for numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. But put them all in order just so that it's a little bit easier for us to grade it when we're taking a look. So we're going to start off with number 1. And just like I said the other day, if you can print this, it might be helpful. If you can't, that's okay. You may have to just zoom in on your phone a little bit. But let's take a look at number 1. So number 1, we have this shared side. And we've got this side here. Let me do that in a different color for you. So we've got two sides, and then we have an angle. Now, As much as my students always want this to be one of our triangle congruence theorems, it is not. And I'm not going to spell it out for you the right way, but SSA is not one of our triangle congruence theorems. And you might be thinking, why isn't it SAS? And the reason it's not SAS is, notice, here's the side, here's another side. That angle, if you just look at this triangle here alone, that angle's not in between them. So technically the order of this is SSA. That's not one that works, so we're actually going to say none. There's going to be a few that have none. Now again, we're only using these for SSA is not one of them. So let's take a look at number 2. Number 2, we've got that shared side. And I often like to just look at one of the triangles when we have a shared side, and you can see right here we've got an angle, we've got a side, we've got an angle. And it pans out on the opposite side. Corresponding angle, shared side, angle. So we can just say ASA. That's all you have to write for these answers. All right, number 3, we've got that shared side. These are my favorite ones because I have a side, and a side. 3 sides corresponding, 3 ticks, 3 ticks, 2 ticks, 2 ticks. And then that one in the middle, we've got side, side, side. Okay, let's take a look at number 6 now. Number 6 has labeled for us, let me do this in pen, an angle down there. Now remember, if it's a little box, that's still congruent angles. They're just both right angles. Angle, angle, and then side and side. Now, how do I know whether it's ASA or AAS? Look at the order in which I read them. Angle, angle, they're next to each other. The side is not in between them. So this one's going to be angle, angle, side. And just to compare it to number 2, to really look at the difference between the two, you see it's written in order. ASA here and AAS. And when I say it's written in order, I'm just reading clockwise, sometimes counterclockwise, but I'm just going in order, writing out when I see an angle, when I see a side. And if you write that out, it actually helps you to know the difference between ASA and AAS. All right, the last one I'm going to do for you is number 7. Number 7, we've got a side and a side right here. We've got an angle and an angle, and we've got, oh, this one's kind of funky. We've got a side and a side. I didn't notice this when I was writing up my notes. This one is definitely trying to trick us. Notice something. Those angles do not correspond with each other. In fact, let me use a highlighter here. This angle should correspond with that angle. So the way this is labeled, this is absolutely not side angle side. Now, yeah, this one looks like SAS, but this one looks like SSA. So because they aren't even labeled in the corresponding positions, just to kind of show you where these ones should be, this one should go with that one. And so because of that, this is none. All right, I'll give you one more freebie. We'll do 9 as well. So take a look at number 9. And we've got a side and a side. My double tick marks, they correspond. I've got that angle right in the middle and these sides that correspond. So again, look at the order it goes in. SAS, that one would be side, angle, side. So you're going to finish the front side of this and you're going to finish the back side. All you're going to have on your piece of paper, you can try to draw the figures, you don't have to. If you don't draw the figures, you're just going to have a list of either the word none, ASA, SSS, AAS, or SAS. So I should have actually put in the directions up here, or none. So just remember that none is still an option for some of these problems. As always, let me or Miss Etzen know if you have any questions, and you can submit a picture of your work on Google Classroom. We'll see you guys next time.